So today everyone, I am Rafaelis Tipulo and I'm going to talk about my topic is generative linguistic and cognitive psychology. So first, generative linguistic. It is a linguistic theory that regards linguistic as the study of the hypothesized innate grammatical structures. It is a biological or biogestic modification of an earlier structuralist theories of linguistics, deriving ultimately from glosssematics. Generative grammar considers a grammar of a system of rules that generates exactly those combinations of words that form grammatical sentences in a given language. And it is a system of explicit rules that may apply repeatedly to generate an indefinite number of sentences, which can be as long as one wants to be. The difference between the structural and the functional models is that the object of the base generated within the verb phrase is a generative grammar. This purportedly cognitive structure is thought as being a part of a universal grammar, a syntactic structure that is caused by a genetic mutation in humans. So, in generative linguistics, the characteristics is that human language cannot be scrutinized simply in terms of observable stimuli and responses or the volumes of raw data by linguistics. And the generative linguists was interested not only in describing language or achieving the level of descriptive adequacy, but also in arriving to an explanatory level of adequacy in the study of language. That is, a principled basis independent of any particular language for the selection of the descriptive adequate grammar for each language. And lastly, it is capitalized on the importance of distinction between the overly observable aspects of language and hidden levels of meaning and thoughts that give birth to and generate the observable linguistic performance. So in the generative linguistics, the characteristics is that in the previous topic, which is the structural and the behavioral behavioral theories, is that they mostly observe the physical world, while the ge- generative linguistics is answers the lacking answer of the structural and the behavioral linguistic of the previous topic. So in this one, in generative linguistic is it focuses the hidden features which we cannot be seen, or in short, it focuses the cognitive mind of the human being. So the next is the cognitive psychology. The cognitive theory of learning sees second language acquisition as a conscious and reasoned thinking process involving the deliberate use of learning strategies. Learning strategies are special ways of processing information that enhance comprehension and learning or retention of information. This explanation of language learning contrasts strongly with the behaviorist account of language learning, which sees language learning as an unconscious or automatic process. The characteristics is that it emphasizes the meaning, understanding, and knowing were the significant data of the psychological study, and instead of focusing the mechanistically on stimulus response, which is the previous topic, which is the structural and behavioral connect linguistics, the in again, instead of focusing the mechanistically on stimulus response connection, cognitives Cognitivists try to discover psychological principles of organization and functioning, and it sought to discover the underlying motivation and a deeper structures of human behavior by using a rational approach. And it is employed to tools of logic, ex- extrapolation, and inference in order to derive the explanation for human behavior. So the cognitive psychology and the generative linguistic is just the same, more like, and generative linguistics is the first theory that created by Noam Chomsky in the 1960s, and as the years goes by, some linguists are very torn apart, and some believe on the previous topic, which is the structural and behavioral theory, which they observes the stimulus in creating and learning the language, while in generative linguistic and cognitive psychology it focuses on the hidden features that cannot be seen in the eye, which is our human mind, and how the mind really created the grammatical rule in our mind, and how it is used, and how it is being portrayed as we speak. So in short, is that the both structural linguistic and behavioral psychologists were interested in description in answering what questions about human behaviors. So in human behaviors, or the observable universe of the human eye, the objective measurement of behavior that in controlled in circumstances, while the generative linguist and the cognitive psychologist were, to be sure, interested in what question, but they were far more interested in a more ultimate question. Why? What is the underlying factors, the innate, the psychological, the social, or the environment circumstances that caused a particular behavior in a human being and being learned, and how it develops the learning language of a human being. So, in short, that the generative linguistic and cognitive psychologies really evolves around the study of the cognitive mind of the human being. And that is all my report. Thank you so much.